I'm not seeing everybody right now, but we'll see what I can do here. Oh, there it is.
Michelle's here.
Yeah, there it is.
We are again live on YouTube.
Thank you. I think we need one, correct?
Yeah, Paula.
All right, we got time.
Hey Vince, while we're off for a minute here,
You're still live on the YouTube.
oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll refer to you later.
Yep, thank you.
Trying to reach out to Paula there and couldn't get through her on the phone.
She appears to be in the attendee list, so if somebody makes her that has hosting abilities from an attendee to a panelist, that might get us where we need to be.
Oh,
I just did it.
There we go.
Matt, you are now a co-host.
Thank you.
I am here.
Okay, we hear you, Councilman Whitman. We hear you. We do not see you though, but you are here though.
I'm not all that cute today anyway. It's all right.
So I guess
can't- I thought I was in, I got bumped out. Now I'm in. I don't, here's the thing is I have a sign that says start my video and it keeps showing up and then it goes away before I could click on it. So
I know that Jake is on with us, and if he can remotely do that, we'll see. We'll give another minute or so. And I'm looking, Mr. Buds, it would, if this is acceptable or not, or we should wait and see if we can connect. Obviously, you want to try that first.
Your Honor, as long as there is the availability of two-way communication, that's acceptable. We had used as a backup if we ran into technical difficulties that someone could call in. As long as Councilwoman Whitman can hear us, then I think that we are acceptable to move forward as long as she can continue to hear and participate.
Okay, and as we go through and get back here shortly and raised hands, I'm not sure that'll come up for Councilwoman Whitman, and if it doesn't, please just speak up, Councilwoman, if there's an item or a motion or comment to be made, and we'll go that way as well.
yes, sir.
Okay, we're clear. So at this point, Councilman Mikelangi looking for a motion, and I see there's going to be a second.
Your Honor,
Yep,
this is the motion to go back into the special meeting?
correct. Councilman, you're muted still.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we go back into the special meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Mikelangi, supported by Councilman Lamore to go back into our special meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michaelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Germaini,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Okay, at this point, we're looking, Councilman Michelangelo.
Your Honor, I make a motion that we approve the agreement between DTE Electric Company, the City of Monroe, and Frenchtown Charter Township regarding satisfaction of consent judgment and authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Lamore, for the motion stated regarding the DTE agreement, the consent judgment. Any final comments from council? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michaelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. At this point, we'll need a motion to adjourn and then go into our regular meeting. Councilman Lamore.
Yes, motion to adjourn closed session,
Special meeting.
special meeting.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Lamore, supported by Councilwoman Germaine to adjourn the special meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michaelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes, so we're closed. Looking to Mr. Buds, I think our Clerk Lavoy, I'm sorry, can move forward when, if we're ready.
Yes, just 1 second. Let me pull the other agenda up.
Thank you. Please let me know.
All right, I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay, and I think all's ready at this point. We'll call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Here.
Felder,
Here.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michaelangeli,
Present.
Vining,
Here.
Jermaine,
Present.
Mayor Clark.
Present. I'd ask please this time clerk for the invocation and then we'll have the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Got excited there. Moving right ahead. Guide our working together. Give us wisdom to make decisions that are in the best interest of all involved. Your understanding to listen to each other and your compassion to promote the peace and welfare of the residents of this community.
Thank you. So I'll please, if you would join, I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
For
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Clerk, next item, please.
Next item is any amendments to the agenda.
Mr. Pastor, I'm going to look to you. I know you had some conversation, and I don't know if that's coming from you or the item will come from Councilman Michelangelo, but if you would start, and whoever wants to make that amendment.
Thank you, Your Honor. After the consent agenda, I would ask council to add an item regarding a discussion related to the Lazy Boy site development.
There's Councilwoman Whitman. We can see you now. Okay, so Councilman Michelangelo.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to place an item after the consent agenda and before council comments regarding an update on the Lazy Boy redevelopment project.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Lamore, that under the consent agenda and before council comments, there be an amendment to add the Lazy Boy update on the development project. Any other comments regarding amendments? Clerk, please call the roll.
I just have a question regarding clarification. So it's not part of the consent agenda. It will be after we finish with the consent agenda, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michaelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
Next item is under council action. Item 2729, consideration to adopt COVID-19 resolution number 6.
Thank you. I'll look to either Mr. Pastu or Mr. Buds regarding this council action item on resolution number 6.
I'll take a shot at it, Your Honor. The resolution itself is extending the closure of city facilities through Monday, May 18th. The governor's executive order 2020-59 extended the stay home, stay safe order through Friday the 15th. Previous council action extended the closure of facilities through May 11th. Again, administration's contemplating a reopening facilities on Tuesday the 19th. We certainly working on sufficient safety measures to be in place by that time with some restrictions. We'll use the 18th and probably even part of the 19th for doing some orientations with and safety training with employees. The other items are related to our discussion last Tuesday night, cancellation of recreation programs through the end of August, cancellation of park facility reservations through the end of August, cancellation of summer concert series, cancellation of special event requests through August 30th, and then closing skate park facilities at Munson Park and at the former multi-sports complex. And then the other part is asking to council, we'll get back on our schedule again, May 18th for a 6 p.m. Work session, regular meeting at 7:30, although conducted by video conference on the condition that the governor extends the executive order 2048 to allow for the remote meeting as she has been approved in the past. So using remote technology, I should say. So the one thing I did put on a note down there, what's not contained in the resolution is a request for additional pandemic leave, even though we're looking for an additional week to extension from what the closed facilities previously had.
Any questions from council for Mr. Pastou regarding resolution 6? Seeing Councilman Michelangelo. If
Your
not,
Honor, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution COVID-19 resolution number 6.
Second.
motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilwoman Germaini on item 2729, the COVID-19 resolution 6. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
yes,
Whitman,
Yes.
Michelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Before we move on, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Budd's administration as they work through this extension or continuation through resolution 6. Much appreciated. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 2731, consideration of resolution to allow sealed bids to be opened via remote technology.
Mr. Pastou, do you have information prior to this? I know we briefly mentioned it at the work session, but if you would, please.
Yep, thank you, Your Honor. Resolution amends our purchasing policies, procedures to allow the use of remote technology for opening sealed bids. Our city code allows for the solicitation and receiving of sealed bids electronically, but silent as it pertains to use of technology, video technology for it. So we're asking council to allow us to put in place this ability to do so, given our current situation, pandemic, and health officials recommending social distancing. We feel this is an appropriate use of technology. We're part of the Mitten, Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network. It's got very strong internal controls protecting the integrity of the competitive bid process. And once fully functioning, we think it would be even a more effective and efficient way to administer our purchasing procedures, as well as being transparent as they are being unlocked electronically in real time, that the contractors can see that opening. So with that, we are recommending approval of the attached resolution.
Seeing none. Councilman Michelangelo, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution amending the purchasing policies and procedures to allow for the use of remote technology for opening of sealed bids, requests for proposals, and requests for qualifications.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Lamore on item 2731 as stated. No final comments. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
yes,
Whitman,
Yes.
Michelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 2730, authorization to participate in demolition of Saks Furniture Building.
Mr. Pastu.
Thank you, Your Honor. Over the last few years, Community Development Director Jeffrey Green has worked very well with our county treasurer regarding acquisition of blighted tax foreclosed properties within the city. They've got an excellent working, trusting relationship. One of the more challenging foreclosed properties has been the Saks Furniture on East First Street. We've resisted in acquiring it because of the unknown cost for demolition and environmental remediation. In April, the county treasurer inquired if the city be willing to split the cost of the building demolition. They received a bid just a little over $100,000 for the demolition and environmental remediation. We anticipated that would be much higher than that, and therefore we're recommending that the city accept the offer to share in the cost of the demolition. That cost would be $50,150. We're asking for a $5,000 contingency if it's needed and necessary. We'd share, this the funding for this would come out of the general fund demolition. We do have funds available, and the county treasurer indicated to Mr. Green that we'd work regarding the future sale of the property, including an equitable reimbursement based on city's contribution. Given that the treasurer's term of office expires at the end of this calendar year, not seeking re-election, we'd recommend just a brief memorandum of understanding regarding the disposal of the property, and have, certainly the approval of Mr. Green, myself, and the city attorney. But we think it's a very good opportunity to take down this building at a very, very reasonable cost.
Councilman Felder, you had a hand, and Councilman Michelangelo.
Thank you, Honor. First of all, I'd just like to thank the county treasurer for participating in these sorts of development projects with the city. I understand that development opportunities are open to many of the townships throughout the community. I'm happy the city takes advantage of them. I hope that we approve this, and I think it'll be good for the community. I'd like to make a motion, but I see that Councilmember Ike Angeli has his hand raised as well, so I'll let him speak.
I'll defer.
Yep, Councilman Felder, you had your hand up for comments. You can make the motion, then I'll look for the second.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to move to authorize the city to contribute $50,150 to the Monroe County Treasurer towards the demolition of the Saks Furniture Building on East First Street, and authorize a contingency amount up to $5,000 be established, and that the city manager sign a memorandum of understanding related to the sale and procedure of the subject to the approval of the Community Development Director, City Manager, and City Attorney.
Second.
Okay, this is a motion by Councilman Felder, supported by Councilman Lamore. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please, Clerk Treasurer.
The next item is the consent agenda and approval of payments. The amount has been included in the agenda, $508,302.44.
Thank you. 2 items on the consent agenda. Any of the consent agenda items council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Any items from council? Seeing none, a motion be in order.
Your Honor,
Councilman Michelangelo.
a question. Do we offer the attendees an opportunity if they want to pull anything for discussion?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was looking down and hesitating because I was looking for my notice at the bottom, so it would be appropriate. We have 2 participants that are council members to make the motion, but I'll take a second before I take council's motions. Thank you, Councilman Michelangelo. Any of those participants here this evening wish to have either of the 2 items on the agenda pulled for further discussion? Of course, I'm looking to Mr. Buds or Clerk Lavoie to see if there's any. Councilman, I'm sorry, City Attorney Buds.
Your Honor, the only thing I would say is that because of the way it's set up with the panelists at this point, we do have, it appears, 1 phone in, and if it's suitable, I would press the button to allow that person to talk, just in the event that they wanted to make any comment on the consent agenda.
If you would, please.
All right. That's a number that ends in 069, and any communication is permitted. The others appear to have the ability to conduct a hand raise if they so desired.
Okay, I see no public comment. We'll move forward. Councilman Felder.
Yes, Your Honor. I move that all items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, recommendations carried out.
And I think Councilman Lamore, you had a hand up. Did you have comment or support?
Support.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Echoangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is the item that was added after the consent agenda. It was the discussion on the Lazy Boy site development.
Yes, an update and then site development. I'm looking to both the city manager and Councilman Echoangeli. I think you made the request, so I think maybe we'll start there unless Mr. Pestu, you had something you wanted to.
I was just going to, yeah, just in the introduction of it, last Tuesday when our work session, Council Member Echoangeli inquired if there was any renderings related to the Lazy Boy site. We briefly talked about it during the work session, and then they were sent to him, and after he contemplated a little bit, has some current concerns in that we may be venturing a little afar from the sub-area plan that was presented. And upon reflection, obviously we haven't had a lot of time to contact or time to review with City Council in light of what's been going on with the pandemic. But I wanted to, just kind of give a brief overview of where it is, but more importantly, also talk about maybe having a special meeting next Monday night if council is available to spend a little more time going over that. So that's my introduction to it. I don't know if Mr. Echoangeli had anything else he wanted to add with it before, but I have a couple of slides that we've seen in the past that we'd share with council.
So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Pestu, but I wanted to go to Councilman Echoangeli because your correspondence, that way you could share that with council as well, as far as some of your thoughts. And then as we move forward, maybe a fashion in which we can do that.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I think Vince kind of summarized the conversations that we've had since the last meeting. When I took a look at it, I was appreciative that Mark and Patrick Lewis shared some of the drawings with me so I could take a look at them. Observation that I had was I just had the feeling that we're starting to drift away from the sub-area plan, and I thought it would be, we needed to have a conversation before we got too far down the road on that issue. The city manager recommended having a special meeting next week with all of council to go over the status of the project, and I think that's appropriate. And then that way we can all voice our opinions on the observations that we would have relative to the status of the project.
Thank you. You said maybe, I think, work session was referred
Yes.
to. Is that correct,
Yes, Your Honor.
Councilman?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the city manager was recommending next week, and I think that's appropriate. That way we, can spend at least 45 minutes to an hour getting an update and then seeing, and then, talking about the scope of the project and where we're going.
Thank you. I think Mr. Pestu will give you some additional time and you want to review some items, but one of the items, of course, we chatted about earlier as well is the materials that are provided that if they could get sent to the council, and we have time to kind of digest some of that as well as the updates, see where we are and where we go next. Mr. Pestu, if you continue.
I might ask if you could just for a moment, if Mr. Cochran could, there's a few graphics that we've from
yes.
corridor improvement. There we go. And without going through all of the corridor improvement plan, I think one of the things we're trying to utilize certainly the concepts and the right of way that was identified in the corridor improvement plan as much as we can and incorporate that into the sub area plan. And if Mark, if you can flip on that. The one thing, and we'll send this out to you, and so I think some of the focus is you're going to see a couple of purple areas. The one in the center where Mark has had his is the old boiler station, and to its immediate right in white is the silo. And I think those are, were identified, as features for this lifestyle type center. Although we had programmed it afterwards, and some of it, for environmental reasons to come down. I think that's where some of Mr. Michaelangeli's concern was. And then there's another building right there where Mark is, that I think is the old museum. And again, part of it is its historic significance. And so I wanted to point those out so City Council would think a little bit more about it, as the conversation. We'll be sending this out during the week. And then the last one is just a very preliminary site plan. Oop. We got the one site plan, or okay, we don't.
Oh, it's this one, right?
What's that?
This is the one we talked about, right?
Well, you've got section 2 of the, Mark, you've got section 2 of the sub area plan up that shows the right of way.
Thank you. I got to choose a different window.
There you go.
Yeah. And so if you look at the top, you can see the entryway, Mark, if you point out there, it's identified fairly heavily with, some features from a landscaping standpoint, much wider. I think Patrick was saying it's 110-foot right away. We do have a building that's a tenant that the developer has been working with in that immediate area. And then just a little bit further to the northeast, looking at some building there with retail and possible restaurant type of use. So I think trying to live within the spirit of both the corridor plan and the sub area plan with it. But there is some movement taking place in that immediate area. So I don't know, John, if there's something you want to add with it a little bit. I think, part of it is I just wanted to give the council a little background with it, where things were at. And I don't know if there's anything else to add at this point, but just to give them context for next week's discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Vince. I think some of the observations that I had, and council can think about it until the meeting, is that the first one is along the right of way. And you'll notice if you're going north and you're going to turn into the development, MDOT is requiring a decel lane, which reduces the amount of terrace space in that area. And because this is going to be a clean site, the conversation I had with Mark and Patrick is, why aren't we increasing the amount of green space along Telegraph Road to really minimize the amount of traffic, and then make it much more definitive that this is a different type of development that we would normally see along Telegraph Road. And then the other part is, whatever we do here, we could also replicate to some degree where the former Nortel Lanes is at, because that's another large redevelopment piece, and really start setting a different pattern for the development in the community. The other part that I had was, we want to make sure, at least from my position, is that we don't make this look like and feel like a suburban commercial strip center, which we have a lot of them along Telegraph Road, and some of them are failing. So this has got to be created more as a special space, something that people are going to be interested to walk through, not drive through. And although the developer is working on and has some commitments relative to uses, you can see that the first phase is going to be more suburban in nature, because there's a lot of parking and a lot of circulation in the site. And there's not a lot of things like walkability and sidewalks that connect these stores. My other observation was, a big part of the plan the sub-area plan was retaining some of the elements on the site, like the boiler house, which is, does have its environmental issues, but the building is rather attractive because it has large glass windows. Would make an excellent, as identified in the sub-area plan, for a microbrewery, would make a great location for a small restaurant. And then the other part is the silo, which you can see today peeking out over the current Lazy Boy property. The silo really serves as a landmark. And instead of, currently it's in the demolition bid to be torn down, and it was one of the key features of the sub-area plan, and it could be used as a brand for the development. So that's why I said, I think we're starting to drift away from some of the key elements of the sub-area plan. And I think that's why it's important to have more of a detailed update. Those are my comments. Thank you.
I was muted, sorry. I think this is a good start, so we can get these and look at them as you stated individually as well. Mr. Pastu, I guess I'll see if there's any concern or comments from the council, but Vince, when were you looking to schedule this then? Is it next Monday?
I would prefer next Monday. The sooner the better. In part, the governor has lifted the construction moratorium, and contractors could be back working again May 7th. I know Patrick has had some conversation with Homrich, who's the contractor. So we may have to give some special instructions related to the structures that we talked about on that end of the building there for demolition. Although I think their first order of business is the asbestos abatement. But sooner the better. There's some details that we've got items out there and would like to get it resolved as quick as possible. And I do apologize. I mean, I think I know we got sidetracked a little bit away from our work sessions, and this would have been clearly a topic for discussion before we got too far down the road. But the sooner the better if everybody's available.
I'm trying to get my video with all. I still have the item on my screen, but if you would, I guess, send that out then. We could have administration send that invite out for next Monday, unless there's any objection. I apologize if there's a council person with a raised hand, because I'm still trying to get back to the full screen here. I think I have it, but okay, I got it. Mr. Buds, I see you hand raised.
Your Honor, if that's going to be a scheduled special meeting, we can either go through the process of soliciting that external to the meeting, or if there was a move to make that motion now, that could be made as well at this point in time for scheduling purposes.
So Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes.
So work sessions traditionally have been established by administration. So I'm trying to understand, is this related to the executive order, or do we need a motion and a second to establish a work session, which is my understanding of what next Monday is?
That's my understanding. Looking to Mr. Pastu, but Councilman Michelangelo, if there's a comment on that before we get to a motion.
Yeah, I was going to ask Vince, would there be anything that comes out of that meeting that the council needs to make a official action to provide direction?
I don't think necessarily. I mean, I'll get a sense of what the feeling is at the conclusion of it.
I mean, does it hurt to have a special meeting in case there's a decision that needs to be made?
The clerk's going to have to post it either way.
So, Your Honor, we're going to do it either way. I would make a motion that we schedule a special meeting for May the 11th. At what time? 6?
Yes.
Everybody's 6 for 6 o'clock.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilwoman Moore, that through administration, through the clerk's office, that we schedule a special meeting.
And Your Honor, I should add to the motion, because it's a special meeting.
Yeah.
Regarding the Lazy Boy redevelopment project.
As long as you don't mind if I take the liberty of maybe adding an item or two.
Okay.
Sneaky.
I see the clerk looking at you, Mr. Pastor. Well, we'll start with this and then
Okay.
post, we'll see if there's items that administration have. But I'm look, first, before I get the clerk, I can see everybody now. Councilman Lamore, you're good with the motion to, for the purpose stated. Now I want to get the clerk LaVoy so she can make sure she gets her administrative and her task done correctly as well. Clerk treasurer.
Well, so I'm always concerned about open meetings, and I just want to make sure we're doing this right. I have no problem with a meeting next week. I have no problem with a special meeting, but I would like some clarification from the city attorney that we can add items, because that's sometimes not clear in my head.
As far as making this motion now.
Well, making this motion is fine, but then adding items I understand City Manager Pastor can probably do that, but I like to double check.
Yeah, I understand now. I'm looking at Mr. Buds.
Your Honor, my view would be that a special meeting can be called with 18 hours notice. I would say that the posting of any agenda or items that's going to be discussed should be within that period of time, and then that would meet the obligations for a special meeting under the Open Meetings Act, and we would know what was out there and available for discussion.
Very good.
Excellent. Then I'm good with everything. Mr. Pestu, feel free to add whenever you're ready.
I will not give you another 3-hour meeting, I promise.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. Thank you, Clerk Treasurer, for asking that. And we've given Mr. Pestu the latitude to add before the time frame expires. We'll see what that ends up with. So there's a motion and a second. And I'll see if there's any other comment. Councilwoman Vining, you're muted. Do you have a question? You're muted.
Kelly, unmute your mic.
Still muted.
She'll find it. Okay.
I was trying to unmute her, but I can't.
Yeah, I think she's gonna have to tap and hit the mute button in the bottom left. But she's going. Is there a mute microphone in the bottom left corner if you tap the screen?
Up in the upper right, I think.
Oh, yours is upper right. Mine's different.
Okay.
I should be able to unmute her, I thought, but I can't seem to make it work.
Well, she has the ability to phone in, so I know she can. Councilwoman can hear us, and I see her nodding. So we're going to wait a moment with the motion in a second, so the councilwoman can phone in and the opportunity to make her comments here.
It's hot, right?
So I know that, yeah.
Look up Kelly.
Councilwoman Vining, I know you can hear us, so I know you want to make a comment. Phone number, there you go. If you call that number, and then I think we'll be able to get you that way. And we'll look into those are the host administrators to connect you to us. just take another minute here. So I think she's still trying to get through on the number.
Kelly says that she's been knocked out and she can't see anything.
Okay. I know that Jake's still with us. I'm sure he's probably.
I think he's working on it.
Okay, we'll wait a couple minutes here. When every council member the opportunity to share their thoughts, and on the meeting, there could be a conflict or on the time, or we don't know. We'll take care of that now.
I am going to email Kelly her phone audio instructions.
Very
She can
good,
hear me.
thank you.
Your Honor, I'm going to step away and make a copy of the roll call sheet. I've run out, so I'll be right back while we're at a pause.
And we'll wait for your return.
Thank you.
I have emailed her the instructions.
Thank you.
Hello?
Ah,
I'm on the phone now. When you took the sub area plan off the screen, it just kicked me out. I couldn't see any buttons or anything. But I'm in now. Can you hear me?
Councilman Vining, we can hear you. So if you,
Okay.
there was a motion and a second, you have some comments or questions or thoughts?
No, I was just trying to let you know I couldn't. I was knocked out.
Okay.
I didn't have anything to question.
So you're back with us, and I'm looking at the clerk, so I make sure I get this correct where we are regarding the motion in a second. We're at this point looking.
so I have a motion by Councilperson Iguangeli and a support by Councilperson Lamore for the establishing a special meeting regarding the Lazy Boy redevelopment project scheduled for May 11th at 6 p.m.
And we know the time frame in which it is, in which Mr. Pastu may have other items, as long as we post them correctly.
Right, right. And I'll work with him to do that.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
there's a motion and a second. At this time, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Coangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. So clerk, the next item, please.
I have no further items, Your Honor.
So we have council comments next, and it is May. So Councilman Lamore, you start us this evening, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Regarding the upcoming vote, there are some residents that have concerns regarding their vote being safe or counted. I just want to remind the residents that City Council serves as the election commission. We test and confirm the good operation of the equipment and the machine's accuracy. I trust everything that the clerk's department has done. They do an outstanding job on getting this job done. And any concern that the resident has, I would say obliterate it. It's an absolutely transparent process. She does an outstanding job with this, and her work is well verified by us. So there's no horsing around with this, and I can tell you that this job is done A1. And that's my final comment.
Thank you. And I know Clerk Treasurer LaVoy is going to have comments, so you want to make those now to be appropriate?
Well, I think it's appropriate to just to flesh out a little bit or add to a little bit what Councilperson Lamore said. And I appreciate him as a member of the Election Commission verifying the work that we do to secure the absentee counting board. I think it's important because a lot of people don't participate with the absentee counting board. Just to mention that in addition to all of the pre-testing we do, we have to match each ballot number with the applications, with the voter list, and with the envelope, and with the ballot inside of the envelope on election day. So we have to go through multiple steps before we even have the opportunity to remove that stub, which is also important because then the person who puts it in the AV counting tabulator has no idea what stub number matches which voter. The person who puts it in the tabulator has no idea how people are voting. So there's multiple steps. And I just think that's important. It's like 4 or 5 double checks on each ballot to make sure that they really were issued. Plus, before that, and then again on election day, we verify all the signatures. And if we cannot match a signature, we contact the voter to try to match the signature. So I appreciate Councilperson Lamore's comments, and I thought that was an important step to add.
Thank you. And thank you, Councilman Lamore. Councilwoman Whitman.
Yes, I do want to acknowledge Barry Leroy. I happened to be reading the letters to the editor, and I saw a letter, but it says a shout out to the water department. And it says, I would like to send a shout out to the City of Monroe Water Department. Barry Leroy and his entire team have consistently supported our community by ensuring we have an uninterrupted water supply. The hard work and dedication of these essential people have made it possible for all of us to remain safe in place. Thank you over and over again. And it's signed Barb Adneal, London Township. And I would just like to, it's nice to be acknowledged, the City of Monroe and the work that is done, and the water department. I think the only time that most of us know the water department is when there is no water. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I'm sitting here watching children playing in this river, so it's very entertaining. And I hope you all have a great week. I'll see you on Monday.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Michelangelo.
Your Honor, you forgot Councilman Felder.
Can't be doing that. I'm looking at my list here thinking, I guess I need to count. So I'm going to retract here. Councilman Felder, you should have been second. My apologies. Please start, Councilman Felder.
Thank you, Your Honor. I took no offense. I just thought you were changing it up tonight. That's all. I'm just really proud of the work that we've been doing. especially tonight in our cooperation with the County Treasurer's Department in enhancing development in our community and taking care of some of the derelict properties and creating some redevelopment opportunities. I hope that everyone's able to stay healthy and safe at home, and I hope everyone votes tomorrow or has already. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. My apologies again. Councilman Michelangelo.
Your Honor, I don't really have any comments other than I just hope the residents stay safe, social distance, and if they're out in public, that they wear a mask and stay well. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vining.
Your Honor, I also just want to send my best wishes and prayers out to everyone. Everybody stay safe. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gerini, sorry.
Forgot my name.
Oh, I'm not thinking here. I'm sorry.
So we have a lot of white ribbons around town, and if some of you are wondering what they're for, they are to thank everyone at the hospital for the great job that they're doing and all the essential workers. So if you don't have a white ribbon on your tree in front of your home, please put one on and thank everyone. It's a joy to see them on the bushes and on trees. And I also want to thank Sam Geich and all of the department heads last week for their great presentation and all the hard work that they've done and are continuing to do during this. A lot to deal with.
Wondering what it's for. They are to
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
I'm echoing.
I think we're getting some voice run over from Councilwoman. So I have my comments here this evening. Just a few kind of ties into what I've heard. First off, I want to thank Council for their patience on starting the raise the hand. I think it went well to start, and then I just had a little challenges here at the end with some keeping track of the names, I think, of the council members here as I was looking at something else, some notes here. I agree. I think that the administration has done very well for us as we've moved through this. Tonight's resolution on resolution 6, it's important steps, important things we need to do. We understand as a council, and I want the residents to know that these decisions are not taken lightly. We have some challenges to make sure we are safe and healthy, and we have the social distancing. Unfortunately, it is going to impact some of our activities this year related to outdoor activities, but it's for the right reasons. It's about being safe and being healthy. I know I get calls. I'm sure council members are contacted as well. We all get emails wanting to move things forward in some fashion quicker. And we do understand. I look at the council members, I look at the business people on our council, are those that are working, those that are find themselves that they can't go to work. Some are working from home, and their individual business as well. And we understand the impact it's having in our community on the businesses. And everybody would love to go back to the way it was. It is going to be a long-term process, no question. So these decisions we have to make are looking in the long term. Stay safe and stay healthy. So as I started today, and I know I've mentioned this before, but I started today and got a phone call regarding yet another friend who's passed away because of COVID. And I know that he had desires of what he wanted to do as he went through, as the 3 other friends of my past career had passed. These are difficult choices. I look at council, I know that many of you have friends that you've heard of or others that you have association with. We have to make sure we do this in a systematic way that we've started. I commend the council for the decisions in which we've collectively make this decision. And when I get an individual call, just as council members do, it's just not absolute authority in any one of us. And I think collectively is where our strength comes from. So I just want to thank you. I want the residents to know that we will continue to move forward, just as our resolution did, looking at when we may have some operations open at City Hall. We're going to do that through the data and systematic process. I want to thank the residents because I think the residents have done very well. I think that they're mining the understanding of health and safety, social distancing. A lot of people are getting active outside, but yet I see people giving the way to others, and I think that's good. So those are my comments for tonight. I just want to thank all. And Mr. Geitz, again, I'll say it as I did earlier, over the past couple years now, it's been phenomenal. I want to thank you for your service, and I think the residents should know the great work you do and the understanding that we can bring this DT item to resolution here, and look forward to signing this tomorrow. I think I'll stop, and Clerk Treasurer Lavoy, I know that you have some items on election, and I think that, again, I want to say thank you for all that's been put in place, and I think the residents will see that, those that decide to come in tomorrow that haven't mailed in them already their ballots. Thank you. Clerk Treasurer.
Thank you. So I actually was reminded on Sunday when I was working, I was out putting a posting up in the case, and a young man walked by me and he was on the phone and he said, yeah, they're testing 4 people at my place of work. They sent me home and I'll be tested tomorrow. And to look at him, you would never know that he is potentially exposed. So we all have friends and things like that who've obviously it's touched all of us, but that's just a good reminder of people that we don't know who we pass by at any minute of the day that could have potentially been exposed, and therefore interaction could potentially expose us, which is all to lead up to tomorrow. City Hall will be the only polling location available in the city. This election is only for city residents, and I'm only speaking about the city now. Townships have elections tomorrow too, and that's a different issue. But any City of Monroe resident who lives in the Monroe public school system, so the handful of Jefferson voters who have contacted me and who haven't contacted me but are probably wondering why they don't have a ballot or an application, it's because they must live in the public school district, the Monroe public school district. They can still submit their absentee ballots at the drop box tomorrow, or they can come inside City Hall. There will be greeters at the door asking if you are here to vote. And the reason we're doing that is because the rest of City Hall will be closed. So will remain closed. That's not changing. But it's an in-person voting location. You will be asked, and this is a best practice and also a direction from the Bureau of Elections, you will be asked to wear a mask. And if you are unable to wear a mask, we will be making other accommodations to keep you safe and to keep voters who have masks on safe as well. So we'll walk through everything with you. The lobby at City Hall will look very different. There will be red placeholders on the floor where you will be asked to stand. They've already been measured, so everything is 6 feet apart. And you will come in. There'll be someone in the lobby to help you. You'll be able to acquire a ballot and then vote the ballot, because you cannot leave with the ballot. Against state law, on election day, all ballots have to stay in the polling location. You'll be able to submit your ballot, and then it will be taken to the AV board for counting. The most important thing to remember is bring your ID if you have one. That's necessary for voting. Please bring a mask if you have one, and if you are not registered to vote and wish to participate in the election, you can register to vote tomorrow as well as voting. I think that's about it. We'll be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We've worked really hard to communicate to people that the City of Monroe City Hall is where they will need to vote, but please feel free to pass that information along to anyone, because communications, we have a lot of channels for communication, and sometimes I think that's a good thing, and sometimes I think that ends up being a lot of noise, and it's not everybody gets the paper anymore, or listens to the radio and different things like that. So whatever you can do to facilitate letting people know, don't go to your polling location. If you want to vote, come to City Hall. It will be really critical between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. I think that's it, unless there are any questions.
Thank you. I'll see as we get to the remainder. Before I go to Mr. Pastor, there's one item that I did want to share. I apologize I didn't include that. You know, we talked about our downtown, and we talked about all our businesses in the city of Monroe. There are the food industry and those that are open for call-ins and take carry out pickup, curb service, delivery of foods, but also there's some of our businesses down that have also found their way to the online, and there's ways to get those products and items that you may be looking for. So we do ask you still to shop local, shop downtown in a different fashion where you're not necessarily walking through the front door, but it doesn't mean you can't get your revenue in support of the great businesses we have, get your revenue through the front door in a different fashion. So please keep all the businesses in the city in mind as you move forward, and hopefully that there's opportunities to, we'll all be here as we get through this to where we get back to some items as we are used to. Mr. Pastu.
Your Honor, I just, one item tonight, again, thank Mr. Geich for all of his work the last 2.5 years with the tax tribunal case. I know it's not been an easy process, but certainly appreciate getting us to this point here. So other than that, just again, just a thanks to Sam.
Thank you, Mr.
Your Honor.
Oh, Councilwoman Vining, please.
Your Honor, if I may, I apologize, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the passing of Beverly Heck, the former director for many decades at the Arthur Lesso Community Center. We lost her recently, and I just wanted to give honor to her name and the work that she did through the Historical Society and the Community Center and lots of other organizations. I just wanted to mention her this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Yeah, Bev Heck was a great champion for Monroe, as well as the Sawyer Homestead. I mean, the list goes on. Missed, and we'll have opportunities, I know, as we move forward and get through this, to where we recognize many people that unfortunately have passed in this time in other circumstances. But thank you for bringing that up, Councilwoman. I'm going to go at this time for citizen comments. I'm looking for those that will kind of manage the list. I think Clerk Lavoie or so we still have somebody online to see if there's any. This time we'll take any comments from those that are attending our virtual meeting. It may be, but the number 069, if you have, please do.
Your Honor, I believe 069 is a city employee, a department head. I
Okay.
believe.
Are there others on the line that you see that maybe, I'm looking at the participant list here. Any other citizens?
Let me check my email, Your Honor, just to make sure no one has communicated that way.
All right, that'd be great. Thank you. And I see Councilman Michelangelo, while Clerk Treasurer does, if you could make a comment.
No, Your Honor, I was going to make a motion.
Okay.
No, I have no other comments, Your Honor.
Okay, Councilman Michelangelo.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Michelangelo, supported by Councilman Lamore to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Lamore,
Yes.
Felder,
Yes.
Whitman,
Yes.
Michelangeli,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Jermaine,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes, I want to thank you all. The meeting is adjourned, and stay safe and stay healthy all. Thank you.
Everybody.
Right.
Night.
Night.
Night.